Hi, and welcome to my channel. So we're going to talk about a very important topic today, which is pregnancy. So this is obviously for men and women because all of us take part in this process. So it's only fair that we all focus to get this information. So if you're not aware, if you give birth to children out of the UK, and give birth to other children in the UK, the children that you have in the UK have more privileges than the children that you give birth to out of the UK, because simply having a UK birth certificate gives you loads and loads of advantages. And that's why in today's video, I'm going to talk about the advantages that you have as parents when you're pregnant in the UK because you're working in this country. So whether you're on visa sponsorship or not, it doesn't matter because all of us have these same advantages, whether you've got a British passport, an EU passport, or an African passport or Asian passport, whatever. It doesn't matter. As long as you're working in the UK, you will have these privileges. We're also going to talk about, obviously, the citizenship for the kids, because like I've said, it's not the same. Kids that you bring from overseas and the kids that are born here aren't the same. We're going to talk about childcare options as well. And we're going to talk about other advantages for parents who are struggling, as well as maternity leave and maternity pay. So if you're new to my channel, obviously you're welcome. If you haven't joined this family, hit the subscribe button below because you want to be the first person that is notified every single day when I drop a new video on here. I'm very passionate about free visa sponsorship opportunities to move to the UK if you're overseas, but most importantly, career progression in the UK. So now you're in this country, so what? Now you're here, then what? And let me tell you something. When I moved to the UK, the first 5 years of me working as a nurse in the UK, I had two kids, so I had two pregnancies. I had maternity leave twice, and each time I took a year. But in these 5 years, I had three different employers, six jobs, but also I was on visa sponsorship, which means I changed my employer and my visa sponsorship three times in these 5 years. But also, I progressed from a newly qualified nurse to a senior nurse in the 5 years, as well as doing a master's program in the 5 years. So you can see that my first 5 years, I did so much, like a lot of things. The reason I'm saying this is you need to see pregnancy as an advantage. It shouldn't be something that holds you back, or having children. Because I speak to people all the time, so they're like, hey, Melvis, I've got kids, so I'm not able to progress. I'm not able to do this because I've got children. Let me tell you something. Your children should be a motivating factor. So I want you to drop a comment in the comment section below and say motivating factor. They should encourage you and push you to do more rather than get you to do less. I understand about the challenges, but we're going to talk about that. And so if you need to contact me to talk about your specific circumstances, career progression, visa sponsorship, jobs, NHS, apprenticeships, to where you're paid to work and study at the same time, if you check the comment section below, you're going to see my contact details. There is my WhatsApp number as well as my email address, and you can contact me at your earliest convenience. Because like I say, I'm very passionate about career progression in the UK because, like I said earlier, I started my journey 13 years ago as a carer in a nursing home, and I now work as an advanced nurse practitioner, which is the most senior clinical nursing job that there is in the profession. So as you can see, I have gone through these processes myself, and so I can share with you some of the things that have helped me, but also the rules and the laws that govern these processes in the UK. What has motivated me to share this video? Look, there is a nurse who recently, she was given 3 years in prison. She was given a prison sentence, 3 years. And when I read the whole article, I was very touched, because this nurse had a baby who was 10 weeks old. She left the baby at home and she went to work. Like, what a terrible thing to do. She left the poor baby home alone, went to work. On her return, the baby had sadly passed away, which is very, very sad. And while the case was going on, obviously all the legal things, she tried to escape to leave the UK, but she was kind of arrested, and now she's been given 3 years imprisonment. And I can imagine what she must have been going through, lots of challenges, childcare stuff and all of that. But there is no excuse for this kind of behavior. And this is really what has motivated me to share this with you. So the first thing is that with pregnancy, there are lots of advantages and lots of privileges. But I'm going to say if you can plan your pregnancy, then that is really amazing. Women are all different. Some people can plan their pregnancy, some people cannot, for various reasons, but it depends on your personal circumstances. And by the way, I would like you to drop a comment in the comment section below. What is your current situation? Where are you watching this video from? Are you already in the UK? Are you out of this country? Just drop that in the comment section below. And if you've got any challenges regarding jobs in the UK, understanding policies, challenges, and all of that, you can also drop that in the comment section below. And I'm more than happy to provide more information, because I'm a massive enthusiast when it comes to policies, processes, protocols in the UK. And because I've been dealing with this quite a lot, both from my professional career and from a personal perspective in my coaching program, supporting different people through these processes, I have a lot of information when it comes to all of these pathways and processes. So like I say, leave a comment in the comment section below. So the basic thing is, if you get pregnant, there are loads of advantages you have. The first thing is that you get free prescriptions. So if you're on visa sponsorship, this is not considered as public funds. You're entitled as well. I know people that they don't go for these privileges because they're saying, Melvis, I'm on, visa sponsorship. I can't. No, it is not public funds. There are very few things in the UK that are considered as public funds. And let me tell you something. When you're working, you're going to be earning so much money that you would not even be entitled to public funds. So even if you apply, they will just say to you, no, you're not entitled. So that's the way it works. So free prescriptions, which means if you're unwell, you need antibiotics, you need medications, you need anything, you get them for free. Option number 2, and the next privilege that you also have, is that you have free dental care. Look, healthcare in the UK is free, but dental care is not really free. But from when you get pregnant, you need to have a free dental care. So if you don't have a dentist today, I want you to make sure that you register with a dentist. So leave a comment in the comment section below just to tell me that you're following through with this, and say dentist, because it lets me know that you're following through with what I'm saying. And with the free prescriptions and the free dental care, you have those until your child turns 1. So when you give birth and your child is 1 year old, that's when it stops. So you need to make sure that you're maximizing these opportunities, because that is something that is massive. And also, how many times you visit the dentist, how many prescriptions you have during this time, it doesn't matter. You have them endlessly. As long as you've got an appointment or a prescription, you take it to any pharmacy in the UK, they'll give you anything that you want for free. You don't have to pay. So that's the first thing. The next thing is that there are other advantages if you are a younger mom, for example. Let's say you're under the age of 18. There are other advantages you have. If you're somebody who is struggling financially, there are other advantages. For example, you have free fruits, vegetables, baby milk as well. There's quite a lot. But with all these, it's about looking and talking to people. Don't feel ashamed. Don't feel that people are going to look at you and be like, hey, how come you don't have these basics? No. It's okay to talk. And there are lots of things that go on. Many of us end up in a lot of trouble, especially those of us overseas workers, is because we don't talk, we don't ask. We have friends who are maybe like us and they're not aware of these processes, and we don't really get the guidance from people who know what this is about. So then let's talk about maternity leave now, because I think that's kind of enough about the privileges and all of that. So, and by the way, if you're not aware, I do have a private career coaching program. If you want to find out more information about it, where I offer one-to-one support about these UK visa sponsorship jobs, career progression in the UK, you want jobs with the NHS. Let's say you're currently in the UK working in domiciliary care, you're looking to switch, for example, say to NHS, or to do an apprenticeship, or to study, or you're already, say, a nurse, for example, you're looking for senior positions so that you don't get stuck as a band 5 nurse, or you're looking for a way to become a specialist nurse, advanced nurse practitioner like myself. I'm on a mission to make sure that we have as many senior nurses as possible, especially from ethnic minority backgrounds, because it makes a massive difference when you can take part in that decision making. But you need enough people in those senior jobs to be able to have an impact that is felt and that can also help the other people that are coming behind us. That's why career progression is absolutely crucial, because you're on the table, you're sitting in that room when those decisions are made, and so your contributions count. If you want to find out more information about it, you can check the description box below or the about section of this channel. Or if you want to know what is in it for you personally, check the comment section below and you're going to see my contact details. There's also my newsletter, which is completely free. You drop your name and email address and I send that information directly to your amazing inbox so that you're not reliant on YouTube. So to make sure that you've watched till now and for me to know, just drop a comment in the comment section and say newsletter. Also, if you know anybody that can benefit from this information, please do share with them so that they can know about these processes. Now, let's talk about maternity leave. The good thing about maternity leave in the UK is that no matter where you're working, no matter the employer that you can have maternity leave for up to 1 year. So how you get paid, that's what is different. But if you want to take 1 year off with any company, whether private or NHS or care home, it doesn't matter, you can have that. Where it differs is how much you earn. And this is where the NHS kind of beats every other organization, or if you're working with the civil service, you get paid really, really well. But again, there are many factors that determine that. Private companies, some of them can even pay for, I don't know, 2 months, some of them can pay for 6 weeks. Is their choice how long they pay you for, because they're a private company. But let's talk about NHS, because with the National Health Service, how much can you expect to earn if you are on maternity leave? Like I say, it is quite a lot. But generally, most companies, no matter how much they are paying, the last 3 months are generally unpaid. But the advantage also is that if you work for the NHS, for example, you can spread your pay across the year, which makes a massive, massive difference. But again, is for you to know what is best for you and then request it from your employer. And also, there are timelines when to request what. So it's very, very important, and there are very strict rules. And they normally consider this in terms of weeks. But in terms of who is entitled to what, there is a time, which means that if, for example, like to make it really easy, I'm going to say if you start working for the NHS, if you work for 6 months and then get pregnant, you're going to have access to the maximum pay when you have your baby in terms of maternity pay, obviously. So if you start working for the NHS and you work for at least 6 months before you get pregnant, you will have that, which means if you get pregnant before you start working for the NHS, you don't get paid the same. Or if you start working for the NHS 1 month to the start of your contract, you get pregnant, you can still have maternity leave for 1 year, but you'll be paid less. That's the way it works, because the NHS has what they call occupational maternity pay, which is massive. Like when I was on maternity leave, this made a massive difference. With this occupational maternity leave, it's special pay that the NHS is giving to their employees to help them through that period of maternity leave. So it's a lot of money. You end up earning almost like your same salary for all those months, which is really good. But there is a particular T&C, when it comes to this, which means that when you finish your maternity leave, you need to return to the NHS and work for at least 3 months. If you don't do that, you can't be asked to pay back everything that you were given in terms of the occupational maternity pay. So you need to be aware. But when you're on maternity leave, you're also going to accrue a lot of annual leave, which is holiday, which means that when your maternity leave finishes, you can then use your holiday pay, and that will extend your maternity leave even further. So with the NHS, it's really good, and there are lots and lots of advantages. The main thing, and the one thing you want to take from this, is that if you're somebody who is able to be really strategic about what you're doing and you can plan things and all of that, if you work for the NHS for at least 6 months before you get pregnant, you're going to get paid a lot of money compared to somebody who joins the NHS, for example, and then gets pregnant 1 month after starting their salary. So I would like you to leave a comment in the comment section below and say 6 months. It lets me know that you've watched the video till this moment, but most importantly, that you're following through with what I'm saying. So in terms of sickness, if you are pregnant and you're unwell, you can go on early maternity leave, obviously. The disadvantage with this is that you're going to be home when you don't have your baby yet, but if you are well and you can keep working, that is always better, because you're going to have more time to spend when the baby is here. But again, we are all different. Some people are very unwell, and it's not wise for them to be working while pregnant. So they are, kind of obliged. Obviously, if you've got a doctor's note from your, gynecologist, obstetrician, or midwife, or whoever is caring for your GP, if they advise that it's not safe to work, then it's not safe for you to do so. But if it's safe for you to work and you're well, and following those processes and all that, then if you're working, as far as possible before you give birth, that is always better, because you will have more time with your sweet little one once they are born, which is absolutely amazing. The next thing is, once your child is born, obviously, there are also very strict rules as to when you need to do the birth certificate. This is where I'm saying that it makes a massive difference whether you give birth to your child in the UK or out of the UK. Because, for example, if you've got 4 children, As an example, let's say two children, you came from overseas and you already had two children and you bring them with you to the UK. Those two children have to have a normal UK residence permit, legal and active, for the entire duration of their UK stay before they can get indefinite leave to remain. But a child that is born in the UK can stay without any visa until they get their UK passport, and they'll still be considered a legal migrant. And that's for the mere fact that they were born in this country. So where your child actually pops their head, look, it matters. Even though the UK is not like other countries where, say, the US, anybody who gives birth, for example, has the citizenship. In the UK is very different, but there are still lots of privileges for those children that are born here. For example, if you are in the UK, so let's say on visa sponsorship, or if you're not, if you have indefinite leave to remain, which means you don't have a British passport, if you give birth to a child, that child will have a British passport straight away. So that's the advantage. But the children that you bring from out of the UK, they cannot. They have to be in the UK for at least 5 years, before they apply for indefinite leave to remain, before they apply for it a lot, and it's very, very expensive. But the main thing is children born here don't need to apply for a visa. I'm saying this because I know that many people that watch my videos are on visa sponsorship or planning to come to the UK on visa sponsorship. And so these things are very, very important. So if you have your child in the UK, you can leave them without a visa and they will still be considered a legal immigrant, and then just apply for their passport once it's the right time. So this is very important. When it also comes to maternity pay, when it comes to childcare, obviously you need to plan really, really well, because childcare is not child's play in the UK. That's why nannies earn a lot of money. The average pay for a nanny in the UK is currently £70,000 per year. I've shared a lot of videos on here about this, because childminders, they charge a lot of money. It's one of the most lucrative jobs and businesses you can have in the UK. So when it comes to that childcare, you need to be very strategic. Guess what? In one of the hospitals where I worked in my 5 years, why I left one of the hospitals or one of the companies was because when I gave birth to my daughter, I wrote to my employer and I said, I'm planning to return to work on this day. I would like to take part in the maternity, like the childcare scheme. And they wrote to me and said, Melvis, yes, you are going to have a subsidized childcare as a worker. But guess what? It's going to be £1,750 per month. And we'll take it out of your pay every month. When I saw that, I was like, how much am I earning if I'm paying for childcare £1,750 a month? It's not worth it. So that's why I finally left that particular employer. So you need to start thinking about your childcare long in advance, because it is very expensive. If you have a supportive partner and both of you can do it together, it's fine. One tip also, by the way, is that if you are working, say, for the NHS, they have what they call the salary sacrifice scheme. And with this childcare scheme as well that I wanted to get into, that my employer proposed, they take the money out of your pay before taxes. So it makes a massive difference, because you're not going to pay tax on that money, which is really, really good. It cannot affect your pension long term, but it is a big advantage. Also, they have what they call childcare vouchers. So there are lots of different kind of advantages that you can have. The main thing is just to check with your employer and see what it is that they have. One advantage also is that if you're a man, you have access to paternity pay, so you can have 2 weeks of paternity leave, which is paid. But also the biggest advantage, again, with the NHS is that you and your partner can share the maternity leave between yourselves. Let's say, for example, if you have a baby, the mom can decide that she's going to be home for, I don't know, 6 months, and then the dad will be home for the other 6 months. You can do that if you work for the NHS. Private companies, some of them do, but most of them don't really have this scheme. But it's something that the NHS has, which is massive. So like I say, it's about knowing how to kind of navigate through the system, what to get and all that, and getting advice from the right people. If you speak to your midwife, the midwives are very, very good, with what advice you can get, what are the advantages you get. It's good to speak to them. So again, this is more of just giving you an overview. Again, I understand that everybody's circumstances is going to be different, and you're working with different companies. You need to check your maternity policy, because so many people are struggling here, especially those people that are on visa sponsorship, but you are entitled to kind of the same help and the same support as the fellow, say, people with the UK passport, or indefinite leave to remain. Like I say, I have been through these processes myself, and while it can be very challenging, but you need to get support. You can also liaise with the nurses that are staying around your area or other moms so that you can do childcare to share amongst yourselves. I mean, there are lots of ways. If you want me to do a video about all these childcare options, drop a comment in the comment section below and just say childcare options, and I'll do a video about that. Check this out here.